And you're already ranked number one in something.
I like that.
Yeah.
Number one. That's what we're all shooting for, number one. And it was sort of interesting. I'm the number one villain. And Jesse Palmer said, if you're on Coach Spurrier's team, you loved him. But I can see where the opponents maybe hated him because we scored a lot of points. Mm-hmm. And somebody asked me one time why you guys score a lot of points. And I said, well, first of all, we're at Georgia. And I'd heard from one of our assistant coaches, Lawson Holland, nobody had ever scored 50 there. Right. So we had 45. We had our backups in, Eric Kresser and Travis McGriff.
I think
Ike and Riedel and Quezzy were not in there, and Danny Warfel was not in there. So we scored 52. And you know what? We're the only team ever to score over 50, as Danny Warfel used to call it, between the bushes.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome in to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Coach Spurrier will be in with us today, and again, we'll have a lot of fun talking to him, especially about the story that appeared on ESPN about number one villain of all time. Of all time! Was Steve Spurrier. You got to be kidding me. But I can't think of anybody that other people hated more. And I'm sure he's proud of it, of being it. But anyway, we'll talk to him. And then on Thursday, we are scheduled to have Chris Doring on. And that'll be fun, unless something gets in the way. But we'll have him on, talk a lot of Gator football, a lot of John Summerall. And, of course, the series they've been doing, talking to all the new coaches, has been really good, if you haven't seen it. And then, of course, Coach Spurrier next Monday, we confirmed with him he's going to be okay. He's coming back from Bobby Stoops' daughter wedding. And then the following Thursday, Chris Lowe, the Bulldog from On3. Love having Chris Lowe on. He's always – nobody knows the SEC quite like Chris. All right, let us get to our Money Medals. Starting five. MoneyMedals.com is your home for gold and silver purchases, one of the largest distributors in all the United States. 2 Gator grads are running it, and you can reach them at 1-800-800-1865 or at MoneyMedals.com. Okay, well, number one on our Money Medals starting five is that we are inside 3 weeks to the first college football games. Now, a lot of people will give you the countdown based on when Florida plays, but I give the countdown right now is at 19, I think it is. That to me is the season starts Saturday, and that is going to be exciting. So I am getting kind of this, what I call it is excited nervousness, about this season. I can't go anywhere without people asking me about it, which is great. I love that people want to know what I think still at my old age. That's great. So don't ever question whether you should come up and ask me about it. Ask me about it, but here's what I always say. Everything he's doing is exactly what I want to see, but they got to win games. And it's not going to be easy. This is a tough schedule. It's not as tough as it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but it's tougher than anybody in the ACC's got to play. In fact, I'll get into that later, but I was looking at this thing about the easiest schedules, and they might have just said, hey, every team in the ACC and every team in the Big 12. Those are the teams, because nobody from the SEC or the Big Ten was in there. Oh, I will say the Big Ten schedules are easy. The non-con schedules, for the most part, are. Ohio State does play Texas. So anyway. So we're inside 4 weeks. So we're inside a month to get to the Gators playing their first game. And I know that we're all excited to see it, and we're ready for it. I do think that, Robbie's advice to me about enjoy every day because you never know how long you got and you can't worry about it. I think Robbie's going to tell me today that he's going back the other way because he wants something to watch in football wise because we got the FedEx Cup and golf going on, but I don't know that that's going to ring a lot of bells. I will talk a little golf later. And the quarterback number 2 on our Money Medal starting five. Sorry, I screwed that up a little bit. Is the quarterback battle continues. You hear different things about both guys, Mostly positive. Everybody seems to like what they're doing. They're throwing a lot this fall camp, to get ready to be, which was the Spurrier philosophy. There are things that John Sumrall's doing with this team that reek of Meyer and Spurrier, and that's a good thing. That is a great thing, because you hear it all the time. Like, not making the guys not be able to wear their their Gator stuff in practice, and stripes and all that stuff that Meyer did, and throwing a lot, which is what Spurrier believed in. You throw a lot, build up your arm muscles, get better, get more accurate. The more you throw, the more accurate you're going to be. I think that was part of the problem with DJ Lagway. But I did want to mention DJ Lagway, because obviously he should be the Florida quarterback right now. That would have been perfect. But he didn't want to. I think they made it pretty clear that you're going to have to do things differently. It's not going to be what the deals you had before, blah, blah, blah. He ends up going to Baylor. And I think there's a lot of people that kind of look at DJ Lagway with a total, Gator fans I'm talking about, with a totally negative attitude. And I have kind of come around on that. And that is because I don't know how much is, I do know that some of it was DJ's fault, some of it was the fault of his camp, but some of it was definitely the fault of the head coach, who would not give up the play calling. So I just think we all can. I'm going to root for DJ Lagway in the opening game. I am, against Auburn. I want to see him do good. I've kind of come full circle on that. But I'm not going to root for anybody as hard as I root for either Aaron Philo or Tramel Jones, whoever ends up being the starter. I think most people are assuming it's going to be Philo. Tramel Jones has had a great camp. You listen to them on the Friday interview that both of them did. They were awesome, and I was impressed with them. Just some smart kids who really know this. But again, being smart doesn't always get you, I mean, the valedictorian is usually not the quarterback of the team, but sometimes it is. Anyway, my point is this is going to be a very big part of it. We're going to get to that a little bit later when we get to the Mark Gaida presents the 12 most important players on this Florida football team. So you would think a quarterback would be in there somewhere. And we'll see what happens there in that position, because it's huge. And they're putting a lot of things. They certainly are putting in place a lot of guys around whoever the quarterback is. So it's got a chance to work out. But the quarterbacks have to play well. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Money Medals. Starting 5, brought to you by MoneyMedals.com. And that is, speaking of quarterbacks, Kyle Trask is going to be at Carolina, signed with Carolina. I was excited about it, and then I realized maybe he's not going to stay there for long, but he may play in the exhibition game this weekend. But he signs with Carolina because Haynes King hurt his hammy scoring a touchdown in their preseason game last week. So that's going on. Then you also have the situation. By the way, Kyle Trask has 11 passes in the NFL. I couldn't believe that when I looked it up. 11 passes. You can't tell me he's not any good. I'm sorry. Like, you could argue with me about Tebow, and you could argue with me about Danny Werfel. You can't argue with me about Kyle Trask. He's really good. But he was playing behind Baker Mayfield. They ended up cutting him because they couldn't afford him. And I don't know. I maybe things work out, but my gut feeling is that when Haynes King's healthy, Kyle Trask will probably get cut again, or maybe put on the practice squad. But you also had the situation with, by the way, they played the Bills this weekend, so watch for that game. You also had the situation with Anthony Richardson with the Colts, and he's now third team. And the story is that apparently, and this is according to people who cover the team, he is checked out. He wants to be traded. He's just checked out. He knows he's not going to be the quarterback. He don't want any part of it. He's not putting the effort in. I don't know. I'm not around it. I can't tell you. And there's talk that he's going to be cut. Now, that'd be fine with him because then he can go sign with another team. However, everybody's got a lot of quarterbacks in camp, and it's almost like he's going to be in a situation where you got to wait till somebody gets hurt, then maybe you get signed to be a backup. I don't know where it's going to go with Anthony. Look, I wouldn't have picked him in the 4th pick in the draft. We could have warned him about his erratic play. I don't think he's an erratic human. I think he's got an erratic player, but it is what it is. But I'm going to ask that question to Robbie later. Why does Florida never have great quarterbacks in the NFL? I don't understand that, but we'll talk to him about that a little bit later. All right. The number 4 on our Money Medals starting 5, brought to you by MoneyMedals.com, is the golf this weekend because it was really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. Michael Brennan is a really good player. And you look at the last 3, Thorbjornsen, Koiven, who is really good, and then Michael Brennan this week. Now, they didn't have to deal with Rory. I get it. But, I mean, Koiven had to deal with Scheffler right on his tail. But this, I think, and I wrote about this in my back nine, even with the funding that Liv got and now they're back, the stars are over here. That's where all the great players are. Now, one of them's Brooks Koepka, who said it's pathetic the way he's been playing. And he said the word pathetic at least 6 times during the interview. It's been a struggle for him. And I think he lost his edge over there and playing that Live Tour. Now he's got to get it back. He's got to figure out a way to get it back. And I'm kind of rooting for him, too, since he came back. But we also got the FedEx Cup problem solved, but not completely. But it was really interesting to see Ricky Castillo make it. But, boy, he barely made it. He was at 68. And he played really well, but he had a couple late bogeys and is he gonna? I was worried, but he was fine. Jackson Koiven also did make it at 70th, so he was nervous about that. Billy Horschel didn't make it. It was missing the cut last week that killed him. He played well this week. I think he finished tied for 12th, but he finished 100th in the FedEx points. But that hip surgery and everything, I think he'll be fine going forward, and he's playing well. 2 of the last 3 tournaments, he finished in the top 15, but the one he missed the cut. I think he missed the cut by a stroke. He missed the cut at the Open by a stroke. He missed the cut at the PGA, I think it was, by a stroke. He's just got to make some putts, and so hopefully he will, and we're rooting for him. Again, Michael Brennan shot 63-64 in the last 2 days. That is golfing your ball. And I will say this. I know those pros love playing these courses the last 3 because they are in immaculate shape. They're not real hard. The greens don't slope off when you hit a shot. And they lit them up, and it was really fun. A lot of 60s and 61s in the course of 59 earlier by Michael Kim. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. By the way, the U.S. Amateur started today at Marion, and if you're a golf fan, you can find it. I think it's going to be on TV starting Wednesday on the Golf Channel. But 7 Gators are in it right now. Are in the tournament right now. So that'll be fun to watch. I got to pay attention to which ones. By Thursday, I'll be able to tell you who's still alive. All right, and let's finally get to number 5 on our Money Medal starting 5. And number 5 on Mondays, as always, Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Heart Realty present the Olympic Gator calendar. And let's go. We got. It's starting to pick up now. We're getting some stuff to talk about, and it's fun. I am so excited that we're getting out of summer and into the good stuff. Florida opens its soccer season. Now, I know they played last week, and they've been playing, but those are exhibition matches. This is the first match that counts at UCF, 7 o'clock in Orlando. I don't know why they're playing at UCF, but it may be just because they have a lot of players from Orlando. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe I'll find it out. By the way, it is on ESPN Plus if you want to watch it. Florida will have 5 soccer matches before the first football game. Regular season ones that count, which is amazing. And by the way, the FSU game, which is in another week, FSU, is it match or game, whatever you want to call it, is on is going to be on the SEC network. See if you want to watch that too. That's in another week though. And on Sunday, volleyball is playing against Gator grades. So the current team against great players from the past, not too distant past, believe me. That'll be at the O-Dome. That's at 2 o'clock on Sunday. So that's to get them going for their season. So we got a lot of stuff we'll be talking about as we go forward. We thank Steve and Christine Wendig from Boss Art Realty for our Olympic calendar, and we will take a break. And when we come back, the HBC will join us, and we'll talk to him about a lot of things, including being the #1 villain of all time, according to ESPN. And Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where. Maybe this is another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studio.
Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you why you should be buying silver and how to get started. Recent price spikes in groceries, healthcare, gasoline, steel, and lumber tell the story of inflation, as do raging bull markets in equities and housing. As the reality of all this inflation sinks in, investors will be acting quickly to diversify and protect themselves, their families, and their assets. That's why we're offering our Silver Starter Kit to help you get started in holding tangible wealth. This mix of our most recommended forms of silver includes 9 silver coins, totaling 4 troy ounces of fine silver. These pure silver coins have a low bid-ask spread, the difference between the price you pay to buy and the price you receive to sell. Low transaction costs are one reason Investopedia calls Money Metals the best dealer in America. Don't waste any more time. Start protecting your savings today with physical precious metals at moneymetals.com/go.
You know, with a new football coach in town, everybody's talking about what it will take to build a winning program. Well, here's one thing we know. It takes more than just great offense. You need disciplined offense, a defense, a special teams. Miss one of those and you're probably not going to have the season you hope for. Same thing is true when it comes to losing weight and improving your health. At BMI TeleMed, we call it the 3-legged stool. The first leg is a GLP-1 medication when it's appropriate. It's a powerful tool, but it's only part of the game. Second leg is your medical team providing individualized coaching on nutrition, strength, training, sleep, and healthy habits. And the third, and maybe the most important, is you. Your commitment, your consistency, your willingness to stay with the game plan. With these 3 pieces working together, that's what success looks like. Not just losing weight, but improving your health and keeping the weight off. Kick off your weight loss by calling BMI TeleMed at 727-383-1677 to schedule a free consultation. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It is a Meldon Monday, so we have Coach Spurrier in here, and glad to have him as always. We're closing in on the beginning of college football, Coach, and you're already ranked #1 in something.
I like that.
Yeah.
#1. That's what we're all shooting for, #1. And it was sort of interesting. I'm the #1 villain. And Jesse Palmer said, if you're on Coach Spurrier's team, you loved him. But I can see where the opponents maybe hated him because we scored a lot of points. Mm-hmm. And somebody asked me one time why you guys score a lot of points. And I said, well, first of all, we're at Georgia, and I'd heard from one of our assistant coaches, Lawson Holland, nobody had ever scored 50 there. Right. So we had 45. We had our backups in, Eric Kresser and Travis McGriff.
I think
Ike and Riedel and Quezzy were not in there, and Danny Warfel was not in there. So we scored 52. And you know what? We're the only team ever to score over 50, as Danny Warfel used to call it, between the bushes instead of between the hedges. So anyway, so we got a kick out of that a little bit now because they're still talking about it.
Yeah.
If we'd left it at 45, they wouldn't even talk about it. But, yeah, Jesse said what Coach Spurrier loved to do with especially his walk-on players, they got a big lead, let them go in there and maybe get a touchdown. the only one of their life.
Yeah.
And I was telling a story, Paul Bowen, who was a walk-on wide receiver here, a good friend of ours, he got in against Kentucky one year and got him a touchdown pass with a minute or two left. And I think we scored 65 that day. But he had a memory of a lifetime.
Yeah, oh, sure.
And anyway, so if the opponents want to hate me, that's good. The Art of War, Sun Tzu once said, if your opponents have nothing bad to say about you, then you've done nothing to disrupt their way of life. So if you're beating them pretty regularly, they got to have something to say bad. But they never said we play dirty, and they never said we tried to hurt anybody.
And never cheated.
Like that.
Yeah.
Never cheated. So he just scored too many points. So that's okay. I like to be number one, scoring a whole bunch of points.
Well, yeah, and for those of you who don't know, it's Ryan McGee did this, and it was in on ESPN, but it was the 10 all-time biggest villains. I mean, for me, Lindsey Scott's one of the biggest villains, but I mean, he didn't do anything. He just scored that touchdown. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kiffin was number 2.
Yeah.
So, and he belongs on that list. There's no question about it. But Tebow being on the list was a little
That
bit.
was surprising. Tebow, you would think everybody would love him.
Yeah.
But if you beat some teams regularly, like we were fortunate to do against Georgia, they can't help but not like you. They're not supposed
sure.
to like you if you beat them all the time.
I don't think we
But,
like Kirby Smart. I mean, I like him as
Yeah.
a person, but I don't.
I'm not mad at him. But I mean, they're just beating us pretty regularly right now, and it's no one to blame but ourselves, the way I look at it, yeah.
Well, I mean, a few of the things you threw out there, free shoes you and stuff like that, that kind of got to people a little bit. But that was part of the Sun Tzu thing too, right? Irritate your enemy camp, I think was one of the things that Sun Tzu said.
Well, all those corny little jokes I told during the summer, not the week of the game. The week of the game, I talked like most all the coaches did, saying good things about the opponent and this, that, and the other without overdoing it.
Right.
But in the summertime, we had all these Gator clubs. Gosh, I did 20 a year for 12 years, I think. And they wanted to hear something halfway funny. So somebody would give me the joke, and then I would repeat it. I was smart enough to think about all those jokes, but I usually one of the guys that worked in our sports information or Gator boosters would give me something funny. So I said, our fans would love to hear that. So I'd throw it out there. And Bobby Bowden would tell his little corny Gator jokes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But his didn't get repeated as much as mine for some reason.
Well, yeah, and again, one of the repeatings was a false thing that Larry Guest wrote, and that started that feud going. So it was interesting time. But I mean, I was here covering Coach all this time. I loved him. I can tell you that. I didn't hate him. He was not a villain to me because you did all these great things, and I think a little bit of that too is, Steve, that they don't want Florida to be great. It's never been great. We don't want this to happen. So I think that was a little bit of it. They always looked at Florida as an outsider, I think, in the SEC.
They looked at Florida as a school that was a consistent underachiever.
Yeah.
Prior to 1990, our SEC record was like 44%. It was well under 50% win-loss percentage. And we, I think, won like 82, 84%, somewhere right in there, our 12 years. So a team that once was very mediocre all of a sudden became, during that 12-year span.
SEC champions,
yeah, we were
4
the
years
best,
in a row. Yeah.
We were the best in the conference over the 12-year span. So they're not supposed to like you. Yeah. But anyway, right now, if I see some Georgia people going through the airport, they're pretty nice to me because they're not losing to the Gators anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only true that I think someone said winners in life admire and respect other winners. As long as they're not cheaters and try to hurt people and things like that. So winners admire and respect other winners. So now the Georgia people look back and said, hey, the guy was a winner. We didn't like him back then.
Yeah.
He played fair and his teams played fair, and no big deal.
And you beat them at South Carolina too. So I mean,
Half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time we beat them there. But anyway, Georgia was the thorn in the side of the Gators, and now they are again. So Kirby's got them returned to where it was in the 90s. Actually.
Well, that's the thing. You talk about Florida was underachieving before 1990, and it's been underachieving the last 5 years too.
Oh,
not been
record.
good, and it's got to get better. And that's the thing. Everything John Summerall's done, Coach, I like everything with the recruiting, with all the things he's done over there, making the weight room better, and I like everything. But it comes down to winning football games.
Yeah. Everybody asked me about John Summerall, and I said, the best thing I can tell you, as a coach, we all got a track record. We got a track record. I didn't come to Florida and all of a sudden get lucky and started winning. We won the ACC at Duke the year before. And in fact, when I showed the films and the tapes to the 90 team, he said, how in the heck did those little guys at Duke win the conference championship? But they did it with preparation and mental and attitude, and all those things, and playing smart. And very poor, few errors and so forth along the way. So that helped certainly as you go. We all have a track record. John Summerall has been a head coach 4 years. He's won 3 conference championships, and the other year he lost the championship game. So that is pretty doggone good wherever you're at. And so when a guy's a winner somewhere, he's usually a winner the next place, I think. Simple as that. Now, a lot of coaches get hired for their first time ever.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not winners. We got to find out.
Well, that's true. And then some coaches come in, they make a splash, and then it fades away. And that it kind of did with Doug Dickey when he was here. He had that 74 and 75 teams were really good, and then it just slowly deteriorated. Then he hired you.
Yeah, well, he had some really good teams. Unfortunately, lost that Lindsey Scott game at Georgia. That was the year we had maybe the best team in the conference, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
He was so close. I mean, I was at the game in '75 when they lost to Georgia on a tight end around pass to Richard Appleby. So, yeah, it was always hard, to lose those games. But that was the great thing about you is you came in here and won. Yeah. I was watching that thing on Heinz Ward. I go, please don't show that they beat Florida, because it's the only thing that they did in 12 years as Coach Spurrier is they beat them once. With Heinz, when Heinz Ward was a player, and of course they did show it.
Is that right? Yeah.
But he was a really good player. I always liked Heinz
Ward. Yeah, good guy.
Certainly. We'll see what happens out of practice. So, I mean, everything I'm hearing is pretty good. But it still feels like you have a quarterback battle, and I know you believe you can play both guys. I don't know how you would handle going to that first game. You would say, hey, you got the first half, you got the second half. But don't forget, this is a Division I team they're playing. And there's going to be, you got to go out and play and execute and stay disciplined and do all the things we've talked about.
Well, so many coaches nowadays, head coaches, believe you got to have one quarterback. You got to have the leader of the team, blah, 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 blah. And I never felt that you had to exactly have one. Now, it's great when you got a Danny Warfel, Tim Tebow, and these guys, and they're going to play most all the games and so forth. But if your starting quarterback's having a bad day and you got one on the bench that maybe is just as good or very close to being just as good, why not throw him in there and give him a chance? In '94, Terry Dean and Danny Warfel played in 4 wins each, and we won the SEC. So it can be done. But again, it's up to the head coach how you rotate everybody else.
Yeah.
The running backs, a lot of times you play 2 the whole game and so forth. But anyway, obviously you got to play your best players most of the game, and then maybe give them a break every now and then, but not much.
Well, that's the thing. They for example, like Vernell Brown III, they love him, and he's actually even on punt block. And punt he may be punt block or punt return, and that's the thing. I think they believe in those special teams and getting their best players on the field, and it doesn't matter if they're starters, whatever they're good at, and that's the key. You've got to be good at special teams. You don't have to win the game with special teams, but you can't be losing.
You can't let it cost you.
Yeah,
exactly right. I remember that South Carolina game in 2000. They blocked 2 punts for touchdowns in the first quarter.
Yep, they did.
Hey, what's going on? Jim Collins was my punt team coach. Back then we rotated. I mean, each coach had a particular part. We didn't have a special team coordinator. So they'd block 2 for touchdowns, and we're punting from our own 20-yard line, I think. And I said, Jim, do we have a fake punt, pass, anything? He said, the only thing we got, Coach, is we snap it and run around left end. I said, call it. we were down 21-3 at the time on our own 20. And Ryan, what was Ryan's last name? Ryan Clark or something. He took off around left end, ran about 25 yards for first down. We go down to score. At halftime, we were up 28-24, something like that. So we scored 28 in the second quarter. That's the game. Lido, the last play of the half, they punted to him.
Yeah.
And they should have just sort of punted out of bounds and let the clock run out, but they punted to him, and he ran it all the way back. And the fans, they deserve the credit. They started chanting Lido.
They did.
Lido,
That's
Lido,
right.
Lido.
That's right.
And I'll be dang, he took it all the way. That was a fun minute in the swamp right
Well,
there.
and that's the thing is he scored.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
clock
turned the whole
was at
game
0.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that second quarter, fake punt and that turned the whole game around. And I think we shut them out the second half, 134-24, something like that. But and then went on and won the SEC that year, 2000. So sometimes you win a game like that, and in other games, man, you almost outplay the other guy, but they get more points than you. And that's sports right there.
A handful of plays and a handful of games, what I always like to say. I remember the TV went to Lou Holtz, and he was standing there when Lido ran that back, like, with his mouth open. He couldn't believe it, I mean, that first of all, I don't think he could believe they kicked to him.
Punted right to him, yeah.
But that was
Lido. Yeah.
Lido was a great player.
Oh, he made some plays.
When you think about some of the guys you had here, that were not just great players at their position, but guys who could feel. I mean, the interception Lido had against Georgia was one of the best plays I've ever seen. And guys like Kiwan, and just really quality players that came through here and could do everything. When you just got to figure out what to do. I mean, Kwesi was a quarterback in college, right? High school. I'm sorry.
Option quarterback,
Yeah.
maybe. But, yes, certainly he was one of our all-time wide receivers. Of course, he played with Ike and Riedel and Kwesi. So
And Ike was a DB,
the next year,
right?
97, Kwesi, I think, was his senior year. And Doug
was
Johnson,
All-American,
he gave him the curl and go when we beat FSU, the only time in school history, beat number 1 in the swamp. So that was a memorable night, as we all can remember. But yeah, it's interesting in sports. Sometimes a certain play here or there changes the whole game around. And we had our share of good ones. Unfortunately, the other team had some too.
Yep.
And some of our best
Not
teams.
many, though.
Yeah, some of our best teams, like 98 and 01, we lost by 3 points to Tennessee and lost one to FSU. And we finished third in the nation.
Yeah.
But we didn't win the SEC. We didn't win the national, but we had a team that was capable. And so that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely. I did want to ask you about the golf this week. I don't know how much of that you watched. I watched a ton of it. Enjoyed it very much. Michael Brennan, I think, is a really good player. And then one Gator did make the FedEx Cup, and that's Ricky Castillo, who made it. He snuck in at 68. Billy Horschel missed a cut last week, and that kept him from
making
yeah.
it.
He did play well in this tournament, but he ended up way back at like 100th.
Well, I tell you what, there's so many really good players out there.
Yeah.
Man, you better play well every week if you want to progress and make this tournament. Billy Horschel has not had that great a year for him.
Coming off
but
that hip surgery.
That's what it was, okay.
Yeah. But he's feels like he's getting there, and he's just got to get his putting going again. But that'll be certainly interesting. I did want to talk also about the coaches poll came out this last week, and I know you used to vote on that. But have they asked you to do that other poll where the retired coaches are doing? I don't know that anybody pays attention to us. I don't know if they've asked you about that.
No, they haven't asked me about it. No.
No.
I may have done it 10 years ago
Yeah.
when I first got out of coaching.
Yeah, I think
But,
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years ago. In fact, I got something in the mail the other day from the athletic department that said, congratulations on being a 10-year employee. I've been an ambassador for 10 years. How about that?
They give you a gold watch, or
Or you get a $100 or $200 gift certificate to
Oh.
order something through the Gator on it and so forth.
Sweet.
So 10 years like that.
Boy,
That's
that
how
is
long I coached in
amazing.
South Carolina, 10 years. Yeah, it's
Think
amazing.
about it. That
Yeah, it's
you've been doing this for 10 years, and you've been on this
Ambassador.
podcast for a long.
Yeah, we're having our 5-year anniversary of the restaurant here.
Yeah.
It's done very well. We've got excellent employees here, just like a football team. You got to have directors at the top, managers. We have 3 or 4 because they all can't be here at the same time. And our chef Larry is the best in the country. And the people that work here,
Yep.
waiters, waitresses. Do you call them waitresses anymore, or do you call them servers?
Servers, I
Servers
guess.
is the new word. Yeah.
I
waiter-
I just call
waitress-
them waitresses.
Yeah.
Or waiters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciate the people in Gainesville, but we have so many out-of-town people. They come in, you got to call to make a reservation. So we got some busy things ahead. We've got the Tebow and Warfel event. I think it's August 23rd.
Yep. And
And,
it's for Isaiah 117.
Isaiah 117. So pictures and autographs on August 23rd here. Tim Tebow, Danny Warfel, and me.
You got your anniversary
We talked
party
about
coming up?
we
Yep.
talked about doing something like that when I first came back.
Oh, really?
9 years ago, 10 years ago, and so we finally putting something together. Yeah, my wife Jerry and I, we've only been married 60 years.
That's nothing.
This September.
I think I've been married 50 years, but it's to
Yeah.
2 different people.
That's right. You met your wife, or
Yeah.
was it
It was your birthday party, 50th birthday party.
50th birthday party?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
That's where I
okay.
met her. Or I didn't meet her there, but I took her.
Yeah.
That was my way to
Blind
get
date?
her on a date.
Okay.
Because I knew if
Yeah.
I said Spurrier's party, she would go, "Oh yeah, I'm all in on that."
Yeah.
She didn't even know who I was calling, but. All right, well let's get to the. Oh, I was going to ask you about the coaches poll. Florida not in it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Florida not being ranked. I don't want them to be ranked right now.
When you go 4-8 the year before,
Yes.
you don't deserve to be.
And you don't know who
But-
the quarterback is.
Yeah, I've
That's the
been
other
telling a few people this year right here reminds me of 1990 when I came. First game we had Oklahoma State. We were not ranked.
thing. Yep.
The first game of the season.
Or should you have been?
Of course, we scored 50 on Okie State,
Then
50
you were
to
right.
7. So we were ranked the second week all the way for 12 years.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's still a record or not, but I know we.
It's a record for Florida. I know that.
Well, yeah, it might have been an SEC record. I don't know if Saban.
I saw
Alabama,
a list
they
of
were
that.
Probably, they were probably
and,
ranked
yeah.
more than 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, it is time for us to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend. It is brought to you by our friends at Campus USA, where we're both bankers. I'm not a big Savannah Bananas guy, but watch this play here.
Behind the back
geez.
and a flip.
Behind the back with a back flip. I mean, that is
Yeah,
incredible.
that is good there now.
But, I mean,
Can you run that back?
I don't
Yeah,
know
here
how-
it goes. Let me see how this guy did it.
I don't know how many points you get for this, but it must be a lot.
Ooh, I never tried that one. When I was in high school, they hit a fly ball to you
Yeah.
in practice or something. It's easy to just catch it. So you get like that, and you turn and flip, and you can catch it behind your back.
Yeah.
And I could do it pretty well and everything. And one day I was a freshman here at Florida. I went out to baseball practice, and I was out in the outfield shagging balls for batting practice. And I kept catching it behind my back. Because I could, like Willie Mays,
Yeah.
you put it right like that, and then you just flip, and it'll land right in there. And Coach Fuller said, "Steve, what in the heck are you doing?" I said, "Well, Coach, anybody can catch a fly ball, but catching it behind your back, it's a challenge." He said, "No, you don't need to be doing that now. You'll have to break your wrist or something." And so anyway.
So you went out, did you just go out there just to play balls, or did you
I think
want to
I
go
was
out
just
for the
there,
team?
I was just out there shagging balls before football spring practice one day. Borrowed a guy's glove and said, "Hey, I'll catch him and throw him back in." So they're just having batting practice.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you ever
Nah.
thought about going out, because you were a great baseball player in high school.
Well, we won 2 state championships. That was a sport we couldn't lose. And I still talk to my buddy, Tommy Hager. We still got a few guys that were on that team up in Johnson City when we were watching the World Series and so forth. And I remember calling him. I called him this year. I said, Tommy, can you remember us ever losing a 1 or 2 run game? He said, Coach, we didn't ever lose a 1-run game, especially a 1-run game. We won every one of them, 1-0, 5-4, 8-7. I mean, we go back and look at those scores, and I mean, something good would happen for us. It's just amazing.
That's the key, and the key is winning those 1-run
We had one
games.
player, our catcher, he got a scholarship to Tennessee, play baseball, and he was the only one on the whole team that went baseball to college.
Oh, good for him. Yeah. Well, back then they didn't have full scholarships for baseball.
Yeah, probably not.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Coach's appearance. We will take a break and we'll come back. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Way, or Maybe here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging and coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. It's always great on a Meldon Monday to bring on Robbie Andrew to play Big Mill's Cheesesteaks, Yes, No, Way, or Maybe. Robbie, how are you now that your son's now in school, so you're an empty nester, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
During the day, anyway.
The summer went by really fast, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, starting school, it seems like a little bit early to be starting school to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, when we were going to school, we didn't go back till September. And now they're going back August 10th. Seems a little early to me.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show, that when we were young, Florida would start playing football late September.
Yeah.
Now there's games in August.
Yeah, and now they start practicing in August, which would have been unheard of back then.
We still would have come over and watched it in August, so.
Oh, yeah, no question.
All right, it is time for us to play the game. We love to play Yes, No, Where, or Maybe with Robbie Andrew. Of course, it is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak, a place to go for all your cheesesteak needs, and certainly if you want sausage dogs, if you want hamburgers. I had a hamburger in there recently. In fact, I need to go back again. And also free fries with your order if you mention that you listened to the Dooley podcast and that you heard Robbie Andrew on here. You don't have to mention Robbie, just mention my name.
Yeah, that might hurt your chances of getting them free.
You can only get a small order of fries for mentioning Robbie's name. All right, Robbie, yes, no, way, or maybe. Number 1, it's a mystery why Florida has never had a great NFL quarterback. And the reason I bring this up is because Kyle Trask has 11 passes in his career, and I thought he was going to be a surefire pro. Anthony Richardson is about to get cut, apparently, by Baltimore or by Indianapolis. And it just, they've never had a great quarterback, and I can't figure out why.
Yeah, maybe, Pat. I've thought a little bit about it, and I really don't have a theory. I haven't come up with a theory about it. And the bottom line is I think Florida fans don't really care as long as they have great college quarterbacks, which the Gators have had. I mean, they've had 3 different Heisman winners.
Yeah.
They've had 3 different quarterbacks lead the Gators to national titles. So, I mean, it's all about being a great college quarterback. And, it is a mystery to me that none of them have ever done anything in the NFL. But, it's hard to make it in the NFL. It's hard to be a great quarterback in the NFL. And, there are a lot of teams now that don't have great quarterbacks in the NFL.
True that.
I mean, a lot of NFL teams that don't have great quarterbacks. So
Yeah. I think Grossman would probably be if you were going to rank them, because he got to a Super Bowl.
yeah,
Tebow's had that little 1 year thing that was great.
Yeah.
But that was about it on him. And of course, Spurrier was a career backup.
yeah. And Spurrier had one good year when Brody was hurt.
Yeah,
He was a really
yeah.
good punter.
And
And
then they took him out of when Brody came back healthy for the playoffs, and Spurrier sat on the bench.
Yeah. And then Werfel, Pat, I think, he had all the intangibles, but I'm not sure that he had the greatest arm. I mean, it was a great, accurate arm, and he was real smart. I didn't wonder why he didn't make it, just because he was a great college quarterback, didn't translate to the NFL necessarily, and that's been the case with all the great Florida quarterbacks, apparently.
I can make an argument that Doug Johnson's the best NFL Florida quarterback because
And what about Shane Matthews? Made a career.
Yeah, made a career out of it. He didn't get a lot of starts, but at least they got to play. But nobody is putting them on a pantheon of great NFL quarterbacks.
No, but you're right about Shane and Doug. They both had long NFL careers, and which means they definitely had a lot of ability, and teams trusted them
Absolutely
to keep them that long.
All right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, as is the Zoom line that Robbie is on right now. Speaking of quarterbacks, Robbie, Aaron Philo starts the game versus Auburn.
I'm going to go with a maybe on that one, Pat. I think he'll start the opener for sure, only because he's been in that offense, for 2 or 3 years, and he's comfortable with it, and he's probably ahead of Tramel Jones right now in that regard. So I think he will start the opener, but I think it's going to be a very fluid situation early in the year. I think look at the schedule, I think both quarterbacks are going to play a lot in those early games. And by the Auburn game, maybe we'll know for sure who the starter is. But I say Philo starts the opener. Auburn game, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. It could change weekly, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing great things about Tramel Jones and how he's performed out there, and I thought they were both guys. You could just tell that they're getting the offense just from the interview they did Friday. Both of them, very smart kids who understand, and that's the thing. You've got to be able to comprehend why you're doing what you're doing, just not throw it to the first guy you see.
Yeah, you have to know the concept, why like you say, why this is leading to this and that to this. So, I think Tramel Jones has got some catching up to do in that regard, but I think, like you said, we're hearing good things about him, and he's a bright guy, and he's picking things up. So, and he obviously can spin it really well.
And obviously, he was a really good quarterback till he got hurt his senior year in high school.
Yeah.
Came to Florida, and then he's got to sit behind, obviously, Lagway. But, hey, look, he may end up being the starter against Auburn. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could go a little bit back and forth throughout the year, Pat, which I don't know if that's good for Florida, but,
it might be, though.
Yeah.
You never know.
But there's nothing wrong with playing 2 quarterbacks, Pat, as we've seen before with the head ball coach. So
Who were the 2 guys at FSU? Was it Wally Woodham and Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jordan.
Jimmy Jordan. Yeah, they kept alternating them the whole year, and they had a great year. Yeah, I remember that.
And as we saw with Spurrier, he alternated them in a game and beat the number 1 team in the country. So there you go.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. All right, number 3, Robbie on Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. You watched wiffle ball on the Ocho this weekend.
No way, Pat. I didn't know it was on. If I had known, I wouldn't have even considered watching it. I mean, I loved playing wiffle ball, when I was younger, but I wouldn't spend time watching it on TV, which makes me wonder that you must have been desperate to watch some sports on the weekend to turn to that. It was on ESPN.
It was on ESPN2. They put the Ocho on there all weekend. So I'd flip over there every once in a while and just see what was going on. And sometimes they just laugh at how stupid it was and flip off.
Yeah.
But wiffle ball, because we played – you say when you were a kid, Robbie, we played in college at the University of Florida. We would go out in that yard out there and just play wiffle ball all afternoon. And if you hit it over the fence or over the building, you got a home run.
Yeah, and I even did more after that. I can remember doing it in the 1980s when I was working down in Fort Lauderdale playing wiffle ball. So,
See, you're a wiffle ball guy. You should have been
yeah.
watching the wiffle ball.
Fran LaBelle and I playing wiffle ball back in the backyard.
I will say this: nobody can score in wiffle ball because the ball moves so much. These guys
Remember
are talented.
Throw the knuckleball,
Oh yeah.
little dipsy do.
All right, Robbie. Great talking to you again.
You too, Pat.
I will see you soon, buddy.
Okay, Pat, take care. See ya.
Thanks. Okay, always great to talk to Robbie. We love having him on this show. All right, let's get to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. In this case, it's Gators of the Weekend. Brought to you by Adams Ribco, place to go for all your barbecue needs. And the food is just incredible there. In fact, we actually, was it last night or the night before? One of those nights. Yeah, last night. We had food that we are still using some Adams Ribco hot sauce that we love, the hot barbecue sauce, and had that on there. So you can get that as well. All right. Adams Ribco Gators of the Weekend are the 7 players from the soccer team that scored goals against FIU. Now, I don't understand these exhibition games, how one game you can't have a score, you can't tell anybody what the score was. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. But it's that way in basketball too. And then the next game you can tell the score. I don't know why, but it is what it is. They won that game 7-1, but so I'm not going to list the 7 players, but 7 players scored 7 goals, and it was 7 sisters for 7 brothers. Was that wasn't there was a TV show, 7 brides for 7 brothers. That's what it was. So anyway, those are our Adams Ribco Gators of the Weekend, and certainly I could have made it Ricky Castillo, but I already talked about him and how proud I am of him. All right. So let's move along to our Leonardo's of Millhopper Quick Pick. Our winner last week, Todd, I will get that to you probably tomorrow. I've got it all packaged up. I just need to get to the mailbox, the big mail. I got to take it to the mail. And we will get it to you. He won $25 at Leonardo's of Millhopper. And also a copy of my book, 100 Things Every Gator Fan Needs to Do Before They Die. And I signed it. Yay me. All right, so here's our new qualifiers, our quick picks. We're going to give you the Thursday game, and I'll give you plenty of time to get in. Florida, UCF soccer. I know you're not going to study UCF soccer. I have no idea who's going to win that game either. Just pick a team. Most of you will pick the Gators. But it is at UCF. And I tell you what, you just don't walk into UCF and win. And we'll give you one other game, and that's Mets at Braves on Wednesday. The Wednesday game, Mets at Braves. So you got 2 chances to qualify for the next drawing that we do for $25 at Leonardo's of Millhopper. I don't know if I'm going to throw a book in there or not yet. I'll let you know as we get forward. I'll wait and see how the response is. All right. Let's get to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. It is brought to you by our friends at Gallo Car Wash. We get all of our cars washed, and we appreciate them. All right, well, our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week is Congress, because Congress did what I knew they would do, which is try to attach a lot of crap to an important bill. And look, I'm not sure the Save College Football Act or whatever it's called would work or is going to work if they ever get it through. I'm not sure it does. They set a cap. I'm not sure it survives court challenges and all. I don't know. But at least I'd like to try it. Try something else than what we have, the chaos we have now. But once it went to Congress and once they started pushing to get it in, you knew it wasn't going to happen because, let's put this on there. Let's put a cap on how much you can charge for games. Well, you would love that as a fan, but you know who doesn't love that? Anybody who's an athletic director or administrator of anybody, or the conferences don't. Then it was, let's do this. Let's put a thing on this. Let's make sure we put in something about men or women not being able to play men's sports or something. There is all these weird things and this is what happens in Congress. Don't be surprised. They're going to come back in September and hopefully they'll pass it just because I want to see something different. It's not, again, I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all. I just want to see them try something. We'll see what happens, but don't count on Congress, okay? That's silly. All right, that is our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Weekend. Let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend. Brought to you by BMI TeleMed. Achieve and maintain with your weight loss specialist, 727-383-1677. Give them a call and tell them I sent you. You get a discount with your order. Ask for Charlie, too. All right. Let's get to our Overachiever of the Weekend. I got to put it at Joshua Dobbs. You remember him at Tennessee. Josh Dobbs has he signed with Detroit because Teddy Bridgewater retired again. So when Teddy Bridgewater retired, now they had to pivot. He was in camp. And they got Josh Dobbs, who was not anywhere. But they signed him to a $1.4 million deal. I think half of it's guaranteed. Anyway, as a quarterback in the NFL, he's been around for a long time. And he's played some significant snaps, started a few games. 17 touchdowns, 15 picks. I don't think he's the answer, but he may be the answer if you get two guys hurt. And I liked him as a player a lot. I like that he had to, I don't like that he had to deal with it, but he's been very honest about dealing with the alopecia that has, caused you to go bald. And I think he's a good dude, so I got no problem with him. But he's an overachiever because he's still playing the NFL, even though he's really never shown that he's a great quarterback. See, there's another one. But Tennessee does have a guy who was a great quarterback, I think. His name was Manning.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, who does every freaking TV show and commercial in the world. Although John Cena has taken over I think he's taken over the Peyton Manning role of just being on every commercial to the point where you go, I'm not buying that because I'm sick of hearing about it. Anyway, I'm getting off on a rant there. All right, that is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, brought to you by our friends at Hesser and Kipke. Hesser and Kipke, with over 50 years of combined legal experience in North and Central Florida, Hesser and Kipke is your place for bankruptcy, workers' compensation, and family law. Call or text Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Okay, number one on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things was Chris Sale, who got ejected from a game that he wasn't playing in. And it was a day after he was already in hot water with the umpires. He got called for a balk. Look, I didn't see a balk there, but obviously there wasn't a balk. What happened was basically, you have to declare yourself as pitching from the windup before every batter. Now, I didn't even know this was a rule. I don't think anybody knew it was a rule. Certainly, Chris Sale had to know it was a rule because he did declare it the batter before, but he didn't the next batter, so he got called for a balk. Scored a run, put the Yankees ahead. He was not happy. Walt Weiss was not happy. The next day, the umpires are walking onto the field for the game, and I guess he started yelling at him or something, and he got ejected, and boy, it was a ferocious ejection. He didn't go like this. He went wound up, and anyway, Chris Sale was probably right. And he's still our one hope. Although lately, Grant Holmes has been pitching good. Maybe the Braves got something they can work on there. Anyway, ejected before a game even started. Let's go to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And that is Jacob Wilson. I never heard of Jacob Wilson. He plays, and to be honest with you, I don't think I wrote it down, but I think he plays for the Oakland A's. I think. Are they in Oakland still? Or Las Vegas A's?
Yeah, Vegas.
Okay. Anyway, Jacob Wilson played his 111th game without an error. That is a shortstop record. How about that? Now, that's hard to do. 111 straight games without an error. He's got the record now. Now, he doesn't have the all-time record for not making an error because there's guys in right field that never see a ball. So, there's probably somebody who played right field his whole career and has 500 games without an error. But I applaud a shortstop who doesn't make an error for 111 games. And finally, number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things and that is Don Nelson passing away. Certainly Don Nelson, one of the great players of all time, and also great coach. Second all-time in number of wins behind Greg. He was the all-time winner, and then Greg Popovich went by him before he retired. But also won 5 titles with the Celtics, just a super dude. And he was 86 years old. And I did want to mention the Tommy John situation, too, because Tommy John did not go to Old Timers Day at for the Yankees, and wrote a very heartfelt, I won't be there, but and it was basically saying goodbye. And he's at hospice care. He's very sick. And that makes me very sad to hear that. I mean, I always liked Tommy John. But anyway, and I don't know. It's just so weird that we talk about Tommy John, Tommy John, Tommy John. 90% of kids under 30 don't know who Tommy John is. Maybe 40 who Tommy John is, yes. So anyway, I thought I'd bring that up. All right, let us move along to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get to our Mark Gaida Presents the 12. It's brought to you by Pepin Realty and Mark Gaida. They do a great job over there, and we appreciate them for being a part of this show. And we are going to give you today the 12 most important players on Florida's team. And this is my opinion. I'm just throwing it out there. I may be dead wrong on every one of them, but I think they are. Number 1, Jaden Ball. How they use him, what they do with him. And again, we talked about this last week, but Buster Faulkner saying, look, he's built for this. He is ready for this. He's built to last. We're going to use him in a lot of different ways. Keeping him fresh and healthy is very important. But without Jaden Ball, I just don't see this being a team that can be great. That's why I think he's number 1. Number 2 would be Vernell Brown III. And one reason is they've got him on everything. Punt, block, everything. They're trying him out everywhere on the field. He is going to be a special teams guy, a big part of it. I like him a lot, and obviously he's got a chance to be an elite player. Number 3 is Eric Singleton. And the reason is that Eric Singleton, I was told this by somebody who has some connections, is the fastest guy on the team. And that's pretty cool. And if you're the fastest guy on the team, you're going to get behind people. And you're going to play on special teams and be a gunner maybe. This is an important player on this team. All right, number 4, Harrison Moore. I think you got to have a center. If you don't have a good center, you got no chance. So he's very important. Number 5, Miles Graham. We all know what we think of Miles. He's a great player. Number 6, Bryce Thornton. I think he is a senior leader, is going to be a big part of making this secondary good again. Number 7, Cameron James, who was good last year, needs to be really good this year. Number 8 is Jaden Woods. And the only reason I put him that low is I know he's going to be good. So I don't know if I guess I'm trying to say the most important people that need to be important. But I know what Jaden Woods is going to be, and they do too. Number 9 is whoever plays quarterback, because I think they're going to scheme things up, and they're going to have all the pieces out there that whoever plays quarterback is going to be fine. So that's the only reason it's a little lower. You may say it should be number 1, and that's a good argument, but it's not going to hold up with me. Number 10, Ben Hanks, and the third, who is apparently wowing him in camp. At number 11, Nigel Harris. Got to have that guy. He's got to play well this year. He's been around long enough. And number 12, Brandon Bett, the spitter. I'll never forgive him for spitting on a player, but he's becoming a leader on this team, and maybe if they do something special and he does something special, I'll forgive him for that. But it's never good to spit on anybody. All right, those are our 12. That's my 12 anyway, and it's Mark Gaida's 12 because he presented the 12. No, I'm just kidding, but I did not consult with Mark. I should have. All right, let's wrap it up with our Swamp Games of the Week. Brought to you by the Swamp Restaurant, the place to go to watch any of these games. And anything else you want to watch there, the Swamp has got all the TVs you need and the great drink and food specials. They are unbelievable. All right, Tuesday night, Seattle at New York Yankees, 7:05 on TBS. Wednesday night, again, they're playing at 7 o'clock on ESPN. So you get a full dose of the Yankees this week, and Seattle, who's in contention too. That is a 7 o'clock game on ESPN. And you also have it's a doubleheader because you got Texas at the Angels on ESPN at 10. That's not going to keep me up. Although I was looking up the football schedule again for the first week, and I found this great sneaky game, and I wrote about it in my back nine. Memphis at UNLV, 10 o'clock on the first Saturday, it's 29th. I think I'll either stay up for it or I'll tape it. I may tape it and then watch it the next day and have fun watching it, pretend like I don't know who won. All right, we also have Philly at Minnesota is at 7:30 on Thursday on Netflix. If you have to have Netflix to watch a baseball game. That seems odd, but it's a way of the future. Okay, WNBA, Tuesday, New York at, can't read this, Indiana, 7:30 on ESPN. God, I couldn't read Caitlin Clark's team. That's bad, but you need to write that better. And then Wednesday, you got Toronto at Dallas on USA at 8 o'clock. Also, the Little League World Series is going on ESPN all week. So if you want to watch that, if you're into that, I watched 5 minutes of it today. Watched some kid come up and they were talking about how great he was, and he just bombed one over the fence. I go, okay, he must be pretty good. Sully? Give him a call. And also, I mentioned earlier, the USAM is on starting Wednesday. It started today, but Wednesday is when it's going to be on the Golf Channel. So you can watch that all week, too. All right. That's going to do it for another show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I know I did anytime I have Coach Spurrier and Robbie Andrew on, and anytime I have Zach Rothrock producing. It's always a great show. We'll be back with another one on Thursday, and until then, I am Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.